Welcome to Pages of the Multiverse, where every universe has a story. In this video, we will dive into what if Spider-Man had joined the Fantastic Four's team. In Marvel's What If issue number 1. Set on Earth-772, Spider-Man joined the Fantastic Four's team. Our story begins in the home of Peter Parker, also known as the Amazing Spider-Man. Peter's mind begins to wonder about how to help support his widow aunt to help pay the bills. Being a high school teenager and a superhero didn't help when it came to money. He glanced at a magazine with the picture of the Thing on the cover. He quickly realized that with his powers he could join the Fantastic Four. Outside the Baxter building, Peter stares at the building, thinking that the Fantastic Four would recruit him for his powers and also because of his knowledge of science. He tries to use the elevator, but it wasn't working as only members of the team can use it. Using the nearby rooftops, Spider-Man fired a web line, creating a tightrope to get to the Baxter building. Inside the Fantastic Four's lounge, an alarm sounds, warning them of an intruder. Mr. Fantastic, the Invisible Woman and the Human Torch run over to the building's security monitors. To their surprise, they spot Spider-Man on the monitors. Spider-Man enters through an open window, unaware that the building's defenses had been activated. A glass cage traps him and the Fantastic Four gathers around the cage. Spider-Man rips open the cage and was able to escape. Ben Grimm charges at Spider-Man first, throwing a right punch at the wall crawler. Spider-Man holds his own. Using his speed and strength, he throws the Thing at the others. Reed Richards stretches his arms to restrain him, but Spider-Man dodges the attack and webs up Mr. Fantastic's hands and arms. Sue Storm turns invisible, hoping to catch Spider-Man by surprise. But Spider-Man's spider sense kicks in, warning him of an attack. He was able to disarm the Invisible Woman. And finally Johnny Storm flares up and starts to chase Spider-Man around the lab. Suddenly Reed Richards used his powers to block Spider-Man's path, demanding an explanation. Spider-Man finally speaks his intent. He tells them that he wants to join the team professionally, and asks how much it pays. Reed and Sue tell him that the Fantastic Four is a non-profit organization and pays no salaries. Whatever money they have goes into scientific research. Frustrated from what he was told, Spider-Man decides to leave. But Sue tells him to wait and calls him back. Spider-Man returns and begins to listen to Sue's offer. She says that they can afford his service, and Reed Richards also believes with Spider-Man's powers he could make a great addition to the team, as long as Spider-Man pulls his weight within the team. However, the Thing and the Human Torch still feel unsure about having Spider-Man on the team. They even stated that they don't know who he is. How are the team supposed to trust someone they don't know who they are? They both feel that Spider-Man should reveal his identity, but Reed Richards said to them that they can't force Spider-Man to reveal his name and face, but it was his choice to make. Spider-Man thinks about the choice he needs to make, and came to realize that the Thing and the Human Torch were right. For him to work on the team, he needed to gain their trust. Spider-Man unmasks himself, telling them that his name is Peter Parker. Later that day, Reed Richards calls for a press conference to reveal a new member to the Fantastic Four's lineup, and now that they will become the Fantastic Five. Due to anticipation from the reporters, they all talk at once to find out who the newest member. Mr. Fantastic reveals the newest member was the Amazing Spider-Man. However, not everyone is pleased with this news, as J. Jonah Jameson expresses his anger that Reed Richards would allow a masked criminal to join the Fantastic Four's team. But Reed Richards gives his full support to Spider-Man, stating that he is a real hero, and any charges that were made towards him have been dropped. Jameson changes his attitude towards Spider-Man, and embraces him. Elsewhere, the Chameleon became angry as now his plan to frame Spider-Man wasn't going to work now that he has the backing of the Fantastic Five. Days later, the Fantastic Five become a very powerful team as they dealt with the Vulture. Even as a strong team, cracks begin to form as the Invisible Woman starts to feel left out as she is being asked to remain behind on missions. While monitoring the team, Sue starts to hear voices. The voice were coming from Namor, telling her to meet him. At the New York harbor, Sue meets Namor, but something seems wrong. Namor wasn't moving or talking. Then he summons a hypnofish to hypnotize the Invisible Woman and tells the fish to create a bubble around Sue, and they enter the ocean. In another location, the mystery behind Namor's behavior is revealed that it was the Puppet Master. Now he plans to move on to the next part of his plans against the Fantastic Five. Back at the Baxter building, Namor appeared. The Human Torch and Spider-Man both attack him, but their attacks did nothing to him, as everything they did just went through him. Mr. Fantastic was about to attack Namor as well, but he stops, knowing that Namor is a mental projection. Namor tells the team that he has the Invisible Woman as his prisoner. Johnny and Spider-Man search the Baxter building trying to find Sue, in case Namor was lying. Angered by Namor's words, Reed tells the team that they need to get Sue. In the ocean, the Puppet Master observed the Fantastic Five as they board their submarine. In the submarine, Mr. Fantastic tells the team to be prepared, but warns Spider-Man to be extra prepared since he never had gone against Namor before. To their luck, Namor came to them, but before the submarine could get to him, a giant clam appeared, catching them in its grip. Namor tells the Fantastic Five that they are all his prisoners. Reed Richards warns Namor that they will not be his prisoners for long. Namor laughs off Reed's warnings, and shows them a large glass cage with Invisible Woman inside with a giant octopus. Namor warns them that Sue will die if the octopus breaks her glass shielding. Johnny, getting ready to attack, is stopped by Reed. He notices that something is wrong with him, as Namor loves Sue and would never try to kill her. Johnny still goes in for an attack as well as the Thing. Human Torch goes first. Namor fights off the Human Torch. Namor uses a green sea plant that put out Johnny's flame. The Thing goes in to attack Namor, but Namor slips from his grip, and Namor throws a pink coral plant with razor spikes. The Thing has a tough time removing it. Spider-Man swings into battle, taking on the King of the Sea. However, the Thing is getting covered in a grey fungus. Reed helped Ben to get rid of the fungus. Mr. Fantastic tries his luck. With the combined powers of Mr. Fantastic and Spider-Man, they were able to tie up Namor. The Thing rushes over to the glass cage, and he jumps in to fight off the octopus. Ben rescues Sue and they climb out of the cage. Unaware to them, the battle is being observed by the Puppet Master. He is angry that Namor isn't trying to kill the Fantastic Five but just defeat them. Using the clay puppet of Namor, he uses it to control Namor. Reed tries to reason with Namor, but due to the mind control he couldn't stop himself. He dropped a hint that he had no choice. Reed, noticing Namor's speech pattern, knowing that Namor wouldn't talk like that. Spider-Man even mentioned that his spider sense isn't going off. Mr. Fantastic deduced that it must be the Puppet Master in control of Namor, but it was impossible as the Puppet Master was dead. Still under the Puppet Master's control, Namor grabs a plant that would release a poison gas. The team were about to rush in to stop him, but Sue stops them, telling them that Spider-Man was right about Namor being mind-controlled. Just then, the octopus breaks out of its cage and escapes into the ocean and attacks the Puppet Master's submarine. With the Puppet Master distracted, Namor breaks free from his control. Spider-Man and Human Torch quickly uses their powers to seal the cracks in the dome. Regaining control, Namor wants to continue his battle, to which Reed Richards agrees, finally putting an end for their rivalry for Sue's affection. However, the Invisible Woman can't let this go on. Deep down she loves both men, and the only way to stop this was to make the choice for herself. Since she feels that Reed doesn't need her on the team now with Spider-Man on the team, she made her choice. She chose Namor. Reed, completely devastated with her choice. He tells her that she can't stay with Namor as she can't breathe underwater. But Namor had a machine that can turn a surface person into a water breather. Johnny tries to stop her, but she tells him not to stop her as this was her choice. She goes in the machine and the machine transforms her to breathe water. As she steps out of the machine, Namor makes her his queen. But she starts to have problems breathing. Unlike Namor, Sue can't breathe oxygen anymore. Namor quickly picks up his machine and throws it to the dome, smashing it to let water rushing in. Sue calls for Reed, but he and the rest of the team had already boarded the submarine and had departed. The Thing questions Reed's actions, but he tells him that he doesn't want to lose Sue, but maybe with her being with Namor, she could help him to be a better person and help the world. Meanwhile, Spider-Man starts to feel guilty that if he didn't join the team, things would have been different. But Johnny told him not to blame himself. Now the team will have to return being the Fantastic Four. That was the story of Spider-Man joining the Fantastic Fours and the effects that caused afterwards. Look out for more Marvel What If stories in later videos. Thanks for watching. If you love multiverse stories, subscribe for new videos every week. Right here on Pages of the Multiverse.